Good morning. Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. RT Bear here. Almost 40-year comic book veteran in this wild and wacky industry that we know and love called comics. I would not trade a second of it. I love this industry. I love everything about it. I love the fan base. I love CG. You guys are the best. It's been a good run so far. With this independent stuff that I've been doing, the indie books, black and white, chrono mechanics, I feel like I'm starting my career all over again. I feel like a new pup, just starting over, just like that John Lennon song, just like starting over. I don't know if you guys like that song, but I don't really like it. But I do remember it, and I guess that's good. That's a testament to John Lennon's legacy. I don't know. People say that Double Fantasy was good. You know what? Just to get off on a tangent early on, which is all this show is going to be, by the way. So it's not going to get any better than it is right now. Is I realized I don't really like any of John Lennon's solo stuff. I barely like Paul McCartney's. I think Paul McCartney's got some good stuff. I think Live and Let Die is badass. He's got a few. But John Lennon really doesn't have any what is that song? So This Is Christmas, and What Have You Done? Another year older, and a new one's just begun. It's like freaking depressing. I do say this though. What is that guy for the Smiths? Morrissey. I think Morrissey exists because of John Lennon. I think Morrissey is a extension of John Lennon. Yes, and you guys are gonna control this show. So the only way this show is gonna last an hour is interacting with you. So ask away, interact. That's what this is all about. I look forward to these so much, actually. What I do in the mornings is I just kind of take care of my chores. I have chores, the pool and such. Yeah, we got a new pool boy. It's this guy right here. And for you guys that were asking, let me raise this seat. It looks awkward. There we go. And oh, did you see this? There you go. There's Inko. And yeah, and then I hang out with you guys, and then I settle in and do my layouts, my black and white layouts. So let's connect. Eric, what's up, man? Late. I'm always late for a very important date. Late kick one. What's up, my friend? Drop dead. How are you? Hello. How are you? Stephen Rockwood. Good morning to you. What? No intro? Oh no, nothing. This is all you guys are gonna get. Like I said, it's not gonna get any better than this. Joe Bernardo is. Are you on the islands? The Big Island, Joe? Aloha. And I'm with you, the single Beatles. Yeah, you know who had some, out of all, you just hang out with your friends and you have a few beers and you talk, and it's like, who, if you were one of the Beatles, or if you looked up to one of the Beatles, or which one had the best career, after the Beatles, who would you want to be, or whatever? George Harrison. George Harrison is the coolest Beatle. Like, out of all of them, he is the coolest Beatle. I mean, he was financing the Monty Python movies and those guys, and he was just doing all kinds of cool stuff with this money. I think he had a production company, like a movie production company. They made a couple films, so he got to play producer, and of course he wrote, he was still writing and touring, with his music. And then like the Wilburys, and I mean, just, I don't know, man, the Wilburys is so cool. My wife is a big Roy Orbison fan, and just kind of what that community did for Roy Orbison, it's so heartwarming. They brought that guy in. He did that Mystery Girl album, and a bunch of different people wrote songs for him. I think Bono and The Edge wrote a song. Was it Elvis Costello? There's just a bunch of people that supported him. And then they did that Black and White Night. I guess it was just a show, just a one-off show that they videotaped. Just, if you guys get a chance, watch that. It's so great. I mean, it's just a bunch of guys that just really love Roy Orbison, and they're just paying tribute to the guy. I'm not sure if Harrison was part of that. He might have been, but I think it was like, what was it, Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen, Elvis Costello, just a bunch of people. It just warms your heart. And then I think he put out 2 albums, Mystery Girl. I think there was an album after that that was pretty good. I think he did that that Crying remake with Katie Lang. I'm not a big Katie Lang fan, but man, on that song, freaking phenomenal. It's just so good. And he went out with his boots on, man, for an older guy like that pretty much had his run, or seemingly had his run. The industry gave him a second chance, and he freaking took it, and he hit a freaking grand slam home run. Yeah, I like stuff like that. And then he died on top of his game, man. He was still relevant. He wasn't like a where are they now or anything like that. I mean, he was still putting stuff out, and I really dig that. I admire the community that rallied around him, and that he still had the chops, that he could pull it off. I mean, that guy had a voice all the way up to the end. Quite phenomenal. Quite a phenomenon, I should say. We got Peyton Holden. Good morning, RT Bear, my bear all, my BA, my bare ass, as they say. Agent Cub. Ooh, Agent Cub. I like that. Bump, 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 bump. Agent Cub. Boodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo, doodoo. All right. Whoa. Are we live? Is this happening right now? I don't know, man. Is it? It's trippy, man. What's reality? I don't know. It's all a frame of mind. Past Master Dan, what's up? Look at me. I'm browsing here. Yeah, I got all my tabs open. I try to keep them closed because I feel if I have too many things open, I'm going to crash my my system here. All right. So I think Joe's got a question. This is good. We're starting it off good. Who do you think is the best musicians who separated from their band? Who got better once they left the band, I think, is what you're saying. I think Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel comes to mind. I think he got way better outside of oh my gosh, what the hell was that band? That Genesis. They say they're prog rock. I guess early on Genesis was prog rock, but after that they were just pop. Once what's his name took over vocals, the drummer. I don't know these people. Popular music, I don't know. I know it's just not coming to me. But yeah, I think Peter Gabriel. Like if you look at old Genesis, Peter Gabriel was a freaking clown. Like he was a joke. That band got so much better. Well, actually, Genesis got better without Peter Gabriel. And well, you know what? There's that Lamb Lies Down on, what is it, Broadway or whatever that song is. There's a couple good Genesis songs with Peter Gabriel, but I think he was a lot better without him, without the band. There's that song he does with Kate Bush. Holy shit, man! That thing will make a grown man cry. That song is badass. Let's see. Most bands break up due to outside forces. Yeah, and you know what? Lack of money. Like sometimes you think those bands are just racking in the dough, and they're not, man. I was I think the reality hit when I think it was Motley Crue. Like I kind of came up the ranks. Like I play the drums, and I was in 80s metal bands and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I was ever in hair metal bands. That kind of came after, but we were just kind of like melodic rock, kind of like, Scorpions, stuff like that. Um, and we liked Iron Maiden too. So it was a kind of a combination of those type of things, but it was definitely not like glam stuff. And so I just have to qualify, because I know you guys right now are thinking, art and spandex and women's makeup and shit, but it never got to that point. Thank goodness. So yeah, it was Motley Crue, and this is a weird story, but Vince Neil was with that drummer from Hanoi Rocks. I forget that guy's name, and they were drinking, and they got in an automobile accident, and it was involuntary manslaughter, I think, is what Vince Neil was charged with. And so he did some jail time, and then he paid fines and had to do community service, and that's all fine. But I think there was a show that I was watching, and they were talking about Vince Neil's finances, and I think he had to pay $1 million or some. It was a lot of money in fines, and so I remember people going, "Oh, well, he's a rock star; he can pay. It's not going to be a big deal. Who cares? Fine him money." But then there was a show I was watching or something like that, like behind the scenes kind of stuff, and they were talking about how that was going to probably financially ruin him at the time. I mean, this was early Motley Crue days. So, yeah, like it just got me thinking, like there's not a lot of money, like $1 million that was going to hurt the guy. So there is kind of like this perception, like all these guys are doing like crazy good, but in reality, sometimes they're not. It's just perception. It's just like we think everybody in Hollywood is rich and famous, and they might have some fame, but they may not be rich. I remember when Pamela and I were pitching Black and White in 94, 95, we had a Hollywood agent. We were with, was it William Morris Agency? And so we were taking meetings and stuff like that. And so we met with Live Entertainment, I think they were called. And they were Calico. I think it was Calico, which was James Cameron's company. And so they kind of split off. I think James Cameron was getting a divorce, so it was Live Entertainment and something else. And that's what happened in the Spider-Man movie that James Cameron was going to do too, because basically the infrastructure was falling apart. And so that Spider-Man movie didn't go through, which I think it was good. Just it was good timing. I don't think the effects, even though James Cameron was really killer with the effects, I don't think it would have been that good. But anyway, so we're at this meeting, and my agent starts talking about, because I guess they had done something with this company had done something with Alec Baldwin, and Alec Baldwin was married to what is her name? That freaking awesome blonde. I forget her name. Just big blonde hair. She was in the first Batman movie. She was Vicky Bell. But anyways, so they were saying those two for Black and White, and they were talking like, yeah, we could get them. And so then I remember I think we were at lunch or something with our agent, Pamela and I were, and we were at Wolfgang Puck's, so Hollywood, and we were talking about how much they make. And I think Alec Baldwin was like 500,000 or something like that per movie, and she was a lot less. And I was like, holy shit, man! Like I could pay for them out of my bank account. I was like, wow, like at the time, like comics were making a bunch of money, and I was like, wow, comic books are actually making more money than some of these film actors. And then I remember when Alec Baldwin was calling his kid like names or something, like saying she was a pig or whatever the thing was. I remember watching on the news, they showed Alec Baldwin's house, and I was like, it was very humble. It was a very humble house, and I was like, oh my gosh, these guys really aren't making the money that you think they are. I mean, that's good money, don't get me wrong, but it's not the crazy money that you think that they're making. So yeah, I think there's people like Tom Cruise and stuff like that that are making like billions, but it's not like the Alec Baldwins and stuff like that. Those guys are just kind of eking out a living. I'd say they're still like upper middle class. They're not like, rich and famous. George Harrison, indeedy do. We have Pedro. Hello, chat. But anyway, yeah, I think like we think these guys are making a bunch of money, but they're really not. I forget where we were, but let's see. Joe's clarifying. Ninth Island of Las Vegas. That's the Hawaiians. That's what the Hawaiians call it. Oh, cool. I've been to Maui a couple times, and what's the rock beach? Kim Basinger. Thank you. She's gorgeous, by the way. Eminem's mom, yeah, that's funny. But yeah, it's the Hawaiian island that has the rock beach. It doesn't have a sand beach. It's all coral. It starts with a K, I think. I don't know. But that was beautiful too. We stayed there on that island. Hawaii is gorgeous, man. You are a lucky mofo. Cool Ant-Man helmet, but I still like the retro one. Yeah, the retro one's pretty cool too. But I thought the film did a pretty good version of like paying homage to the original. Because it still has kind of the respirator thing and the antennas and stuff, which is pretty cool. Thanks everybody with the help here with the Kim Basinger. We got Bill Nid. What's up? Hey all. Good morning. 60-40. The 60-40 split. Let's see. You guys got to keep this thing going here. Some folks don't spend all that much. We got billionaires living in their old house. Yeah. I remember, what was it? Read a book or something on successful people, and self-made millionaires or billionaires, they are the most frugal people. Like, they're kind of tightwads. They don't spend money. So not all of them actually just kind of, live off of, just like live like crazy lifestyles. My brother, Tony, does he does like mansions. Like he's a archaeologist. He's I can't even remember. He builds houses. He designs houses. Architect. There you go. And so archaeologist. What the hell? I got Indiana Jones on my brain. So yeah. So he does these big elaborate houses, and so sometimes we would go visit them. He'd ask me to go, and I'd go hang out, and he'd show me, they would be building these houses and stuff. And then we were talking, and I was looking in the neighborhood. We were driving around, and there wasn't a lot of like people that seemed like they were living there. It seemed like there was the help that was living there. And he said, yeah, a lot of times these houses aren't even occupied because they have multiple houses, and most of the time when they are living there, they're hardly there because they work so hard. They put so many hours in that they leave at the crack of dawn and they come back, in the evening time. So they're probably putting 12, 15-hour days in. And that's another reason why people got to get over this pay your fair share. You don't become a millionaire, you don't become a billionaire by not doing anything. Like, it just doesn't work that way. I mean, there are trust fund babies. There are people that inherit money. And yeah, but if you're a self-made person, you built a business, you built a company, you are fighting to keep that thing relevant. You're fighting to keep that thing working. So you're putting in major hours. So to make that kind of money, you're not just kicking back. It's not like what most people think. So when they say pay your fair share, those people are probably working harder than you are, pay your fair share, like, they're probably working, way harder. And most of the time, those guys aren't taking days off too. So they're probably working 6, 7 day weeks. So, and also just like me running your own business, you're pretty much on 24/7 anyway. So, yeah, and the reason, I think the reason why we don't see it that way is because they don't publicize that they work their asses off. You know what I mean? Like these millionaires, they want you to believe that everything's glamour, everything is cool. They're going to all the best places, hanging out at all the best parties and all that stuff. And they are, but they're still working their ass off to get there. But I think just like Hollywood actors and stuff, it's just they wanna perpetuate the glamour. They want to perpetuate that everything is amazing in their lives. And the reality is they're human beings. Their lives are just as hard as anybody else's, maybe even harder. Let's see. Tam Barra says, some folks don't spend all that much. We got billionaires living in, oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Kauai. Yeah, that's the beach. The beach is gorgeous, but you got to walk on it with shoes. You can't really go barefoot. And my daughter found out that the hard way. She actually cut her foot on some coral. It was pretty crazy. We were in the ocean, and it was a gusher, man. There was some blood, and all I could think is that it was the ocean, but they had kind of dug out a jetty or whatever it's called. So there's an area that isn't affected by the waves, but fresh water could come in. So there were like rays, like manta rays. There were turtles, sea turtles. There were fish of all kinds, and they would swim in there with you, so you could go in there and you weren't hit with the waves and stuff. And they did bring sand into that area, but there was coral along the edge. And so we swam across it, and then when we were coming back, she kicked off of it, and she cut her foot. And so all I remember is kind of like going back and just kind of swimming with her to get her to shore. She was still small. And let me turn on this light. It's getting, the sky, the clouds are kind of moving around, so it's getting dark and light. And so I got her out of there. All I could think about is like, blood in the water, like sharks. And so one thing I found out about like coral is you have to clean it out, the wound, really good, because I guess it can grow under the skin. So that's pretty scary. So we got her all taken care of. And I told her, my wife told her too, we got her like some pull shoes, and she never wanted to wear them. So she paid the price. Let's see what Past Master Dan says. Robert Williams thought he was going broke before he killed himself. Oh, really? Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, it's all like life is all relative to what you make. So most humans, they live slightly above their means. Most, I don't, but most people do. And so if if you make 100,000 a year, if you make $1 million a year, if you make $1 billion a year, most people are kind of living slightly above what they really can afford. And so it's just farther to fall. So they can actually take financial hits too. They can get overwhelmed financially, whether you have $1 billion or you have $10,000. So I do think it's all relative. And I guess the only reason I'm saying this is because it bugs me when people say, like, they think if they have a bunch of money that all their problems are going to go away. It just isn't the case. I know people that have next to nothing that are really, really happy. And I know people that are millionaires that are equally as happy, and all the in between. So it's frame of mind, and it's what you do with the cash. Yeah, all I want is I want $1 billion so I can just invest in IP. I just want to develop a bunch of cool properties, and also I would love to branch out. Start doing some animated shorts, video games, all kinds of cool stuff. Because I do think, especially Chrono Mechanics, I think would lend itself to a video game for sure. So Michael says, if you do not spend, then what is the point? Rich is nothing, then die. Yeah, but sometimes they spend too much. I think Michael, it's a frame of mind, because if I remember, it was a book I read on successful people. It's a mindset that they have. So they're definitely have that kind of, they keep that early drive that they had when they started. So they end up managing and end up having that same mindset throughout their lives. So it doesn't really change. So enough is never enough. They always think like, the shit's going to hit the fan. They always think that they're going to lose everything. So they stay pretty conservative with their spending and things like that. But I agree. Like, I try to mix it up. I try to like be responsible, but then have a good time as well. Joe Bernard says, which Van Halen do you think was better, Sammy or David Lee Sloth? Well, when you put it David Lee Sloth, well, nah. I really like Sammy Hagar as a musician, even as a person. I think he's pretty cool. I think he has an interesting career. He probably has a more interesting career than David Lee Roth. So I think if I could be one of those two, I would rather be Sammy Hagar. He also looks like he has way more fun. But David Lee Roth, as far as Van Halen, I think he was the better front man. I think that Sammy Hagar, when he joined Van Halen, they became more commercially successful, because I think that the music became more radio friendly than early Van Halen with David Lee Roth. But for me, like those first couple Van Halen albums are just, you can't top them. That first Van Halen album, I wish they could have stayed in that raw form for like maybe 2 or 3 albums. The second album it felt a little bit more polished, and then after that they felt like, it felt a little too studio, a little too controlled, even though it probably wasn't. But based on that first album, that was just crazy sounding. Like they were just off the hook, man. They were just doing stuff. I heard that Eddie just brought in Marshall stacks, and they figured out how to record them. Like they were just rock and roll, man. They were just loud and just freaking uncontrollable. And I wish it could have stayed like that. Like for me, Ain't Talking About Love is right up there. Like I like a lot of Van Halen songs that people don't even really know, like Atomic Punk, frickin', oh my gosh, David Lee Roth, and then you talk about Roth, like Fire or On Fire, 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 he's just screaming fire at the end, It's just that first album is badass. Yeah, they're just hard workers. Yeah, I don't think you get something for nothing. I think that if you're a millionaire, if you're a billionaire, I think it's because you worked your ass off. But that's just me. I mean, there are people that probably would disagree, but I don't think they've been around people that have success on that level. There are people too that make it look easy, but they're just not complainers and whiners. They just get along. They just do their job, and they don't complain, and they don't talk about it. So it just seems easy. I have some friends that they've had a crazy hard life, crazy hard life, and they make life look easy. Like they don't complain about it. They don't talk about it. If there is any kind of like sadness or bad things, they just shrug it off. I kind of respect that. I think that's cool. But I think we as an audience, we look at some of these people and then we just think they have it made in the shade. And because a lot of them don't complain until recent history. a lot of actors and successful people didn't bitch and whine about stuff. I think Oprah, these talk shows, like I think that Hollywood and these successful people started thinking like, well, if I tell these stories, like I battle depression every day, or whatever these stories are, I think they feel like it becomes relatable. They become relatable to the masses. And maybe on some level they do, but I would rather not hear that shit, to be honest. Like, I don't want to know the details of my favorite musicians. I don't want to know, unless it's creatively struggle. Like, I like hearing that. Like, I like to hear behind the scenes stuff, like, Pink Floyd behind the scenes, and just like creative process behind the scenes. So I like that kind of tension and that kind of stuff that's happening, but I don't like the drama kind of stuff. Sammy Hagar was in Van Halen for a brief moment in time. Yes, there's one thing that I really like, and it's the video. I think it's Right Now. It's the Van Halen Sammy Hagar video, and I think they all kind of hold up signs that says like Right Now, Eddie Van Halen is picking his nose, or I guess it was like Michael Anthony is having deep thoughts, and then they cut to Michael Anthony like he's thinking, and it's like right now Eddie Van Halen's thinking about his next guitar solo, and it's pretty funny. So if you guys have seen that video, it's pretty fun. It's pretty entertaining. Van Hagar, LOL. Oh, you guys want to talk about some Van Hagar? All right, Sammy was the better singer and vocalist. I agree. I prefer, but David Lee had the bigger hits. I don't know about bigger hits. I just think that one, I like his lyrics. I like his I like him as a front man. I think he's a more interesting singer. Like, he doesn't have necessarily a great singing voice. Like, Sammy has a better like singing voice, I think, overall. But early David Lee Roth was pretty badass, man. I think he kind of became a parody of himself. But I think that early David Lee Roth, he was a badass dude, man. So I like early Sammy Hagar. I like Sammy when he played with oh my gosh, what was that guitar player? They did Rock Candy, that song Rock Candy, and Rock the Nation. Rock the nation. It wasn't Jeff Beck, but it was one of those kind of guitar virtuoso guys. Maybe you guys will remember that. But when that was, I think that's how Sammy got his start. So that stuff was really badass. I like Sammy in that band. There's a few Sammy solo songs that I like, but not many. I thought it was a little too commercial sounding. It wasn't raw enough. Like early Van Halen was really raw. Coral equals glass. Yeah, that stuff will cut your foot, and it did. Let me see. Shadowhawk says Van Halen was rock and roll with Roth, more pop. Yeah, they were. It was more radio friendly, I think. So Sammy, Sammy Van Halen catapulted to probably bigger success, commercial success, than they did with David Lee Roth. I think that is true, actually. But I think as far as street cred, like rock, like raw street cred, I think the early Van Halen stuff, for me, is more. I think it's cooler stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna cut and see if I can find out if you guys remember the band's name that he played with. Montrose, yes. Thank you, Hendy Caper. He's a general. Yeah, he came through. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, Montrose, Ronnie Montrose. Yeah, that was the day too when you could get like guitar virtuosos, and they would put killer bands together and just rock. Eric says, Art, are those the actual masks from Batman movies behind you? Yeah, those are the Ant-Man one is a replica. It's a really good replica, though. These other ones, so the Batman one is from Batman Returns. So that was Keaton, Michael Keaton, and then the other one is Catwoman from the same movie from Batman Returns. And yeah, I had. I guess I still have him. I haven't talked to him in James Latta, and he worked at the Warner Brothers Archives, and he actually bought and sold props, movie props, and memorabilia for that restaurant. What was it, Planet Hollywood? That's an oldie but goodie. I don't know if those things still exist, but they burned really hot for a while, like Hard Rock cafes and stuff like that, and so he would supply the Hard Rocks with movie memorabilia and props and stuff like that. And he was really cool. He was like door to door, kind of like if you just talk to him, he would actually bring like props that he thought you liked. He would bring them to your house. Or I remember him actually coming into Extreme Studios a couple times. So he would bring like movie props that he thought, people at Extreme would like. And so he would bring them, and then, if we liked them, we would buy them. And I remember he brought in a bunch of, what was it, Terminator 2. No, it was Aliens. It was from Aliens. And he brought in those Marines, like pulse rifles, the pulse rifles. And these things were actually functioning. They weren't just like rubber, because sometimes they make like just rubber props, for their lighter, I guess, and stuff for the extras, or the stunt guys. This was an actual firing pulse rifle that had the grenade launcher and everything on it. And I still kind of regret buying it. But at the time, I wanted to kind of keep my collecting to like helmets and cowls and masks and stuff like that, because I also have let me see if I can find it real quick. I have a prop from Excalibur. Let me see. Yeah, I have. It's probably all dusty, so it's probably not as shiny as it could be. But this is from Excalibur. So this is Lancelot's. Let me do it on this side. Let me see it better. Yeah, so this is Lancelot's helmet from Excalibur. Remember, like all the really shiny, like aluminum kind of metal and stuff like that? It was really cool looking. So there were 3 of these made for the movie. And so I was fortunate enough to meet this guy. His name's Terry English, and I don't know if you guys can see this here. So this is Lancelot. There's the actor's name, Excalibur 1980. There's his signature right there, Terry English. I don't think he's with us anymore, but speaking of firing pulse rifles and aliens, he also designed all the Marines' armor and stuff like that for that movie. So he's a prop designer, and in England, in Britain, he had. Oh wait, I got to show you this. This was the cool thing. Is right here. That's right here. That's his stamp. So he has a royal stamp because he actually he maintained and built armor for the Queen of England. So all their the armor that they have on display and stuff like that, he would maintain it and then repair it or build whatever is needed. And that cowl or that helmet that I showed you, it's all done the old-fashioned way. Like they would have jigs or molds, and then they would just kind of hammer it into the mold, kind of thing. I guess they got it hot or whatever, and then they kind of molded it that way. So this was built. It's all aluminum, and it was built like I guess they originally built those things in the day. And so yeah, he was just a great guy to hang out and talk to. And so yeah, he had a Planet Hollywood in Britain. And so I remember talking to him, and he's showing me all the brochures and stuff like that. He goes, yeah, most of my props are all in this, like, it's like British version of Planet Hollywood, stuff like that. And it looked more like a pub than like, I guess Planet Hollywood is more just like I guess like a cafe or whatever. This didn't look like that. It looked more like a bar type of thing, like dark woods and forest greens and stuff like that. But it was pretty cool. He was just a fun guy. He's an older dude, and we talked for hours. And this was on display, this helmet, but I absolutely fell in love with it, and he could tell that I dug it. And so I asked him if he would sell it, and he did. He sold it to me, and it wasn't that expensive. It was, God, I mean, it's one of the things that I treasure. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, so what I was doing for a while when money was good is I would look for helmets and cowls and stuff like that. And I got this one here. It's a duplicate. It's a copy. But I met this guy that had he had the original molds. So he was, if you paid enough money, he would make you replicas. This is Van, I forget the guy's name, the actor. And so this was off the original mold. I think this was the first. There were two different masks that were used. I think this is the first one, and I think it was just for the pilot episode. I don't think he wore it during the regular season. So this is really cool. And so he poured this for me, and I remember asking Lada, I was like, I want the original. I want the original Green Hornet, and I want the original Kato mask. And he said they just haven't showed up. So what he did find for me is he found the Hornet Sting. It's the cane that the Green Hornet would use, and it had like a sonic. It had like sound waves, and it could blow off like doors and stuff like that. And he found that, but like I wanted to keep my collecting down to just like helmets and masks and stuff like that. So I never bought any of those weapons. So I always thought, like, as soon as I got enough of the cowls and masks and helmets that I wanted, that I would go into, buying guns, because also I had access to the Blade Runner pistol. It wasn't the, what do they call those? They call it the, what do they call them? The close-up weapons, they're for close-ups and stuff like that. It wasn't that. It was a stunt gun, so it was just solid rubber, but it was all painted up. It looked pretty cool. So I got access to that. I remember Rob Liefeld got access to the Conan sword from the first movie, and I think he bought that thing. So it was just a cool time. You guys talk about, like having money, hoarding money, and then doing fun things with your money. I think in the heyday, my wife and I did a good balance of stuff. Where we got a little crazy. We took some killer vacations. We went places. We bought fun stuff, but we also, we're bottom line oriented. So we made investments, and we, made sure our bills were paid and stuff like that. So, yeah, thanks, Eric, for letting me go off on that tangent. It's the best part of life, tangents. Yeah, I remember there was some guy, like once people know that you kind of collect stuff, they find you. And this guy actually had access to the Flash TV show suit. That actually the mask was molded into the suit, and I just wasn't up for like entire suits. Like what do you do with that? Like, that's a little bit much. Like actual full-on costumes and stuff like that. So it was in pretty good shape, but I remember I just thought you'd have to buy a mannequin, you'd have to do all this crazy stuff. So I never did it. I remember what was it? Norm Rapman, because that same guy that would go into Extreme Studios, Norm Rapman worked at Extreme, and I think Norm bought an entire Stormtrooper suit. He bought like from the early movies. He bought all the armor. I think he said the helmet was a replica though. So I would love to buy one of those. I like the original Stormtrooper helmet, but to be honest, I thought the J.J. Abrams redesigns were pretty cool too. I thought there was some cool redesign work in the J.J. Abrams version. I thought the movies were trash, but I thought there was some cool design work. Okay. Attitude of gratitude, yes. Oh, wait. Wait, are you promoting somebody else? Hey, Gentlemen Scoundrels with Eric just ended, and now I'm in Archer. Oh, good. I thought you were going to go, hey, everybody, go check out Gentlemen Scoundrels. I'm in talk with some people. We're going to bring back Pontificators. So Pontificators is going to happen again. So I'm pretty sure we'll keep the same original Wednesday night. And I'm talking to guys, and we're gonna probably have a bit of a different lineup, but it's gonna be, I think one of the guys is saying it's gonna be Pontificators 2.0. So it'll be the new and improved. I don't know how you can improve on it. We had a great time, man, and Art stayed at past 10. I am actually staying up a little later because I'm trying to get on some of these shows. Everybody does live streams late. I'm an early guy. So Hyper Kaiju, Art can't drive 55. So that's a guilty pleasure, man. That's a Sammy Hagar song. It's a guilty pleasure. So we're back on Van Halen. Van Halen makes 1984 look like the height of rock and roll machismo. Yeah. Sammy's best solo, I agree. I think that heavy metal song was pretty cool. The one he did for the soundtrack, the heavy metal soundtrack. Zaid, what's up? What's up, Philip? How are you? Go back that guy's book. He's got what is it? Magic Cop 2, Electric Boogaloo. And he's got Philip's got a YouTube channel. Some pretty cool stuff, man. They hang out, talk about comics. Phil's a younger guy, but he's like an old soul, man. He knows all these. He even knows the pulp characters, the Radio Days characters, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Actually, from what I heard, like that Dire Straits song is based on watching a Motley Crue video. I think they said. I kind of like that song too. I want my MTV. Morning Spirits Car. It's not morning anymore. I think I'm really behind in the chat. Artie people. Van Halen Pepsi commercial. There was a Van Halen Pepsi commercial? Man, you talk about selling out. They probably made more off that commercial than they did off the first two albums, though. Yeah, because they get a little whiny. They get like I like creative biographies, like the struggle, how they did it. Like Behind the Music was kind of good. It still didn't dig too deep into stuff as much as I would, but for a really superficial, I think they're like an hour long. I thought those were pretty good. I still watch them every once in a while. Sammy Hagar has a great tequila. You know what? I went. Is it the Cabo Wabo? I've been there. It's a really fun bar, but it's it was kind of dead when we went. But it's really inexpensive. You can drink like all night in Mexico for next to nothing. You talk about like drinks for nothing and the chicks are free. If you go to Baja or whatever and you look like you have some cash, you can go far. Your evening will go far. And so, yeah, we were in there, and when you're in the Cabo Wabo, you gotta drink tequila. So I went in there and we drank all the top tequila. We had Sammy's tequila and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. tequila is one of those drinks that either I never developed the taste for. I drank it a lot growing up as like a punk kid, because guys would get the cheap stuff with the worm in it and things like that when we were kids. Just a bottle of cheap tequila, but like that tequila or like high-end tequila, I could never tell the difference. Like it always tastes the same, just straight tequila. I know people don't really drink tequila for the taste, but some people, they do. I guess when it's mixed with things, but I always found it very foul. Like I never really cared for it. So there are people, Joe, that can tell the difference. I guess they can tell the difference, between like good tequila and bad, but I never could. I'm not like a wine connoisseur, but I can tell good wine from bad wine. But I cannot with tequila. Yeah. I remember having an argument with a friend's wife, and she was like, "You just haven't had good tequila." And I'm like, "I beg your pardon?" Like, I tried, man. I tried. When my wife and I would go to like 5-star places and hotels and restaurants and stuff, I would try it, and nah, it wasn't good. Was not good. Never cared for it. Let's see. Too many love songs with Hagar Van Halen. Why can't this be love? How do I know when? Yeah, but yeah, they were definitely going radio friendly. Steve Vai, that's my dude right there. That guy. I'll tell you, not only is he very unorthodox in his playing, but he's also he's a great showman. He is a great showman. But did I get a super chat early on? If I got a super chat and I ignored it, I apologize. I'm going back. Sometimes it doesn't let me go back too far. No. So I apologize. I got to start reading those when they pop up because they go away. So I thought I saw one. And if I did, I apologize. And thank you so very much for that. Yeah, I'm still learning, you guys. I'm still figuring this out. Oh, I saw this. Early Aerosmith was, oh my gosh. I've been listening to early Aerosmith, Rocks, and Get Your Wings, and Toys in the Attic. Even up to Draw the Line. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Let's see. I saw Eat the Worm. I had friends that ate the worm. I never did. I'm not crazy. Van Johnson. Oh, it was Van. Yeah, it was Van Williams was the Green Hornet. Yeah. R.I.P. man. Yeah, Patrick Stewart. God, you know what? If I actually kept up with you guys, these would be relevant relative to what I was talking about. Yes. Helmet is badass. Van Williams. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's Michael. Some super chats are going to do a horror book. Wait. Same. Oh, same. Super chat. Are you going to do a horror book? Thank you, Michael, for that. Do. My wife likes grenadine. Mas tequila. Yeah. Yeah. It was a cool side business. And you know what? That's the cool stuff that I thought, was cool about Sammy Hagar. And I think he lives in Mexico. So I think he's got a little beach pad, like right on the beach, him and his wife. I think I saw like him interviewed, and he was right on the beach. And it wasn't like a big house or anything. It was just a cool house, just kind of having a good time, lifestyle stuff. Yes, thank you so much. Why can't this be love? Yeah, don't eat the worm. Yeah, I agree, Eric. That's nasty. They're not edible gummy worms. Not even close. Not even close. Let's see. Jasper, Plan 9. We're going down memory lane here. Aerosmith, Cheap Trick, Alice Cooper, the New York Dolls are staples for every record collection. I had friends that were hardcore Alice Cooper fans. I don't know. Alice Cooper was lukewarm. He has some cool songs like Billion Dollar Babies or Million Dollar Baby. No, it's Billion Dollar Baby. Yeah, I think that song's cool. School's Out. I mean, it seems like a really cliche, but that I like that song. Yeah, he's got some cool songs. Overall, I think like Cheap Trick was badass. In Color, I've been listening to that. I think that was one of their early albums. That song list is amazing. That album. So we got Billy. Now I know who Billy is. I actually did a live stream with him on Frega's channel the other night. Really good artist too. Good morning, Art. I had a nice read of your book. Left you a message on Twitter, on the tweeters. Well, thank you so much, Billy. There is Aaron Lepresti, my professional buddy. Art is on the air again. Yes, to annoy all with my constant BS. I was trying to be nice. Oh yeah, feed. You know that was later, but yeah, that's a guilty pleasure. Feed my Frankenstein. Yeah, I like the video too, where you get Frankenstein, yeah, and he hits himself with a whip. Yeah, no doubt that Alice Cooper was definitely inspiring. Like he definitely, there was a lot of bands that came after him that like even Motley Crue, Kiss, that took that theatrics to a whole nother level. Yeah, No More Mr. Nice Guy. That's one of my guilty pleasures too. Poison or Bon Jovi? I have a Poison story. I do not have a Bon Jovi story, sadly. But my friend, I used to, when I wasn't, playing in my band, like doing shows and stuff like that, I would roadie for my friends. So I would, be a drum tech or whatever. So I had a lot of friends that were, drummers and different, guitar players, stuff like that. So when they would do clubs and they would play these gigs, I would roadie for them. And so I was roadieing for my friend. I think it was the Roxy on the Sunset Strip. And so they I think no, they were the headliners. I think they were called Fortress. They were called Fortress. No one shall defeat the wall. Fortress, all for one, one for all. Like they were just kind of like a metal band, kind of like Rainbow or Deep Purple kind of thing. And so their opening act was Poison. So Poison opened for them, and I'll tell you, that night, LA Sunset Strip was not ready for Poison because they got booed. They got booed off stage, man. It was sad to watch, but that just goes to show, don't ever give up, you guys. Like when you get kicked, just get back up and do it again. Just brush yourself off and do it again. So I always admired Poison because they were bad that night. I don't know if they were bad in general, but they were bad that night. So I guess they deserved it. But they definitely turned it around. And I got to meet the drummer. He was working at Extreme Studios, so he was doing a comic book for Extreme. And I think he was the writer on it. Inker, I think. I don't remember his name. The only one I remember is like CC. I think that was the guitar player. I think he was the only one I thought was any good. The singer was pretty good, but I thought he was a little too, I don't know. He was a little soft for me. And so soft for me. Don't take that and run, you guys, because I know you will. But I'm telling you, don't do it. Soft for Art, yeah. All right, but Bon Jovi, they were like an East Coast. I think Poison was initially East Coast too, but they came over here, and maybe that's why they weren't accepted. Maybe because they weren't, people didn't feel they were a real thing. But they recovered. I mean, they became big, and they ended up owning the Strip after a while, and then getting their record deal. But Bon Jovi, I think they weren't, once again, they weren't my cup of tea, but they were a good band. Like, they wrote solid songs. Bon Jovi had a great voice. I forget the guitar player's name. They had a great band. They were kind of like the metal version of what's his name, Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, they were kind of like a glam version of Bruce Springsteen, because I think that Bon Jovi tried to keep his lyrics like, these are the working man's lyrics and stuff like that. And yeah, I like their stuff. I think it holds up better than Poison as well. So I think overall I would have to pick Bon Jovi, but to be honest, I don't really care for either of them. But I do hear, when I hear, what is that Bon Jovi song with the talk box where he's got that bum 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 bum? Is that Living on a Prayer? No, I don't. Whatever that song is, I like that song. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. Yeah, it's a great album. I like the way they open it and close it with "Hello, ladies and gentlemen," and then they close it with "Good night." When I played in a copy band, we played in a copy. We would do clubs and stuff like that, and those really helped to pay the bills. And we were pretty good. We would open with "Hello, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to rock? Are you ready or not?" Oh, don't even. Why, Jeff? Why did you do that? That thing got like AM airplay, I think. That song was huge. I thought it was really weird, man. I thought it was a really weird song. It was like I guess because it was also Alice Cooper. It was Alice Cooper trying to be deep with lyrics or being heartfelt, and I never bought it, man. It felt insincere to me. It always felt like he was putting me on, and maybe, I don't know, maybe that's the strength of the song. I don't know. I just really couldn't get into it. Good for you. Well, I didn't choose either one of them, but to be honest, who was it that brought it up? He wasn't. Oh, Joe. Joe wasn't saying he liked them. He was just trying to put me on the spot. So I'm not even sure Joe likes Poison and Bon Jovi. Jeff, yes, April Wine. They had a couple cool, really badass songs. Like what was I Like to Rock? Was it that simple? I think it was. It was called I Like to Rock. I like to rock. Like, the lyrics are really, but in the day you just sang about rock. So it seems a little too nail on the head, but in the day it was like, yeah, rock. Yeah, if you use the word rock, it was cool. But they were a really good band. I think mainly it was like the guitar player singer. I think he wrote all the songs, and then that drummer, that ball-headed drummer, that guy was really bad. It's badass. Ricky Rocket, that's the drummer. Yeah, Ricky Rocket. AC/DC, of course. But here's a better question, and maybe the chat can jump in. AC/DC before or with Bon Scott, after Bon Scott? I'm going to just chime in here. I like the stuff after Bon Scott, but it didn't feel as dangerous. Like, Bon Scott stuff, even though it was tongue in cheek, I loved the humor, the dark humor, and I thought that dude was just a nut. Like, that band with Bon Scott in it, they were freaking lunatics, man. I dug. Go watch some of that live footage of those. They were crazy. Bon Scott looked unhinged. He was a great front man. Dug his sensibility. His humor was right on. His lyrics were, man. Whole Lot of Rosie is one of my favorite AC/DC songs of all time, man. just brilliant. The intro to that song, brilliant. Um, High Voltage, Power Age, Highway to Hell. Highway to Hell was like when they really started getting a little bit more commercial. But I like the early stuff, um, even before Highway to Hell, because I think Highway to Hell was the last album with Bon Scott. I'll tell you, he died too soon. I would have loved to see, like after that Highway to Hell album, I would have loved to see where they were going to go next. I really would. And one regret, I never saw AC/DC live. Didn't really want to see them after Bon Scott, but I did want to see them with Bon Scott. And the Back in Black album is a really good album as well, but it just didn't feel the same to me. I don't remember that singer, but he was a good replacement. He was a good replacement. Lyrics were still good. Have a Drink on Me. There was still like that kind of dark humor that existed in there. So, oh no, no. Joe's trying to get me in trouble here. He's trying to mess with my street cred. He's trying to break me. He's trying to find my Achilles heel here. Okay, I will qualify this. I did see White's. No, I actually saw both bands live. Okay, I saw Journey with Greg Rowley. I liked that Journey lineup, and Greg Rowley was in Santana. So basically, Journey was Santana's backup band. A lot of people don't know that. Like that band, almost intact, is Journey before Steve Perry. So so I saw them still with Greg Rowley. I don't remember the albums that well. I thought Journey had some great like marketing and art design. Like that was what was cool about bands back then, is they definitely, it was music and there was art direction. Like every band had art direction, connected to it. And Journey had pretty cool. I thought Boston did too, with the giant like guitar spaceship and stuff like that. I mean, I was the right age for all that stuff, like 14, 15, 16, 17 years old when all that stuff was coming out. So I think I liked Journey early because there was good musicianship there. And they had kind of more of a soul, rhythm and blues kind of bass when they started. But then when Steve Perry got in, it just became kind of more love song and more commercial. And I didn't care for that, even though they had Steve Smith. Was it Steve Smith, the drummer, who was really, really good? And he kind of kept me in the game. But I didn't really care for Journey that much. Like I said, I did see them live. And then Whitesnake, my wife went to this concert with me, and I forget who the headliner was, but it wasn't Whitesnake. We went there to go see another band, and there was like Whitesnake. There was what was the band that the lead singer for the Babies ended up fronting? Was that what were they called? Bad English? Was that with some of the Journey guys too? I don't remember, but there's like this Journey Babies connection too, because I think the guy that ended up writing most of the hits for Journey was in that band, the Babies. Horrible name, but really good band. Really good band. The drummer was just a caveman, just killer. And I do think that drummer, I can't remember his name. I think he was the precursor for Tommy Lee, because you listen to some of those drum hits, it's like completely Tommy Lee, man. Just that, boom, bah, boom, bah, boom, bah. Yeah, all that just caveman stuff. But when I saw Whitesnake, they had Steve Vai, so that was a plus. So they had Steve Vai and Adrian Vandenberg. So they had two really, really good guitar players, and I think they had was there another Adrian? The drummer that played with the, oh my gosh, what was the band called? The Amity Duke Boys, or it was some kind of Southern band, and he played drums he was one of the first like double bass guys, early double bass guys, and then he played with Ozzy. He played with Ozzy. I like Neil Schon. I liked the early Journey band. But I think with Steve Perry, I didn't like it. Yeah, Living on a Prayer, I think, was the song I was trying to think of. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, it's not that it was popular, because I don't really mind that, but uh, there's just something about Bon Jovi that I didn't care for. Wanted, dead or alive. Hey Bob, what's up? Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, they had their moments, but I would never like I'd never buy a Bon Jovi album, and I'd never go out of my way to see them. So I didn't really care for Brian Johnson. Okay, yeah, I kind of covered that. I'm a Bon Scott guy, and you know what? The cool thing is Bon Scott went out very rock and roll. You know, yeah, Thunderstruck. They had moments. I'm not saying they didn't, but okay. Before Bon Scott's death was better. Yeah, I agree. Brian Johnson. I don't want to say it's it's just a personal thing, because AC/DC did some amazing work. Uh, TNT, it's dynamite. I'm gonna listen to some AC/DC after this. And then he go, watch me explode. Yeah, cool stuff, man. He was the perfect replacement. I will give him. And that Back in Black album, when that came out, it did rock my world. That was a great album. But after that, I just kind of toned back on the AC/DC. Then they would have moments, but not overall albums. Black and White 2, yes, pre-launch page, Indiegogo. The link is in the description too, you guys. But click on Bob's link and go there and sign up. We got all kinds of we got some cool freebies, some giveaways. We have early birds specials, and we have some exclusives. So if you sign up, you'll have early access to all that stuff, and you'll get the free trading card. Oh, I got an itch. I get the itch. Jeff Potts, Early Queen, from the first album to jazz. Tie Your Mother Down, Bohemian Rhapsody, Liar. Yeah, Liar's great. Keep Yourself Alive. Yep, indeed. And that's another band that I feel they got a little too commercial. They got a little too radio friendly, I think. But I do think, well, I agree with you. I believe Jazz was the last for me was the last good album. The hair metal, I was kind of into it at the time, and I think I was into it at the time because I was still. It was like you got to see what the competition's doing, and also I was just in that world. I had long hair, but I never wore makeup or any of that stuff. So I never quite. And also, I got out of the music scene when hair metal started dominating music. So I was just to give you just like historical context. I was playing in the late 70s, actually, like 77, 78, 79. And that was with a band called TKO. And we were kind of just like a really straightforward rock band, but it was kind of on the verge of not new wave, but kind of in that, like, I guess that wave that was happening in LA. So like the Motels, that was the LA band. The Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo. Like these were bands that were playing the club scene when we were playing, when I was with TKO. And then there was even like the Red Hot Chili Peppers was a little later. So it was like Madame Wong's and some of these other clubs that aren't there anymore. So we were kind of playing that type of music. And then I got into a band that was more like melodic rock. So it was kind of like I said, Scorpions, stuff like that. And so then, we started going in that, I started going in that direction. I always liked all that stuff anyways. I'm just a music, like a rock guy. Like, I like heavy rock, more, but like pop rock and stuff like that, I still like that stuff, because like Cheap Trick is pop. It's really pop with a little bit of edge to it, but not really much, you know. Um, so then I started playing more just kind of like melodic rock, and I think what started changing everything for us was we had our like UFO and Scorpions and stuff like that. But I think it was we were getting the bootlegs and the imports of Iron Maiden, so with the original singer. So I think that's what started my group of musician friends to go into that more hard rock thing. And that's the trend. The trend ended up going that way, and then hair metal kind of came out of that. Let's see what Peyton says. Please make me a mod so I can post your links. Yeah, I can't do it through StreamYard. So if we do it, I'm going to have to, I think I have to go through YouTube, and we got to set up like a mock kind of setup, like show. And then I think I have to do it that way. But maybe, you know what? I don't think I need StreamYards to solo. So maybe I could just do just a YouTube straight show, and I could get all my mods, because there's a couple other people, Peyton, that I want to make mods too. I've been very fortunate. I hope I'm not jinxing it, but the chat has been very, very kind to me, so I do like that. Occasionally there's some bad apples, but if you like AC/DC, check out the band Airborne. That doesn't sound very metal. I'll check it out though. I'm going to write this down. Airborne. I feel like you're pulling my leg. Oh, we got it. We got an endorsement. Oh, cool. I'm going to check it out. Cure or Sisters of Mercy. That's tough. I think the Cure. The Cure has some really great songs, and the Cure, they had a core, because I think the Cure was never really a band. I think there was some members that stayed for a while, but I don't think it was ever like a cohesive band, if I remember right. But they did have a lineup. I'm trying to remember the albums. They had some great just albums. They had hits on the albums too, but because of the musicianship, some just great, some like atmospheric stuff. They were doing some really cool atmospheric, kind of like Pink Floyd and stuff like that work at the time. So I think for me, the Cure, and probably also, just to be fair, I think I got to qualify a lot of like stuff I like is that I could listen to it while I'm working. So I like album stuff that you can get really engaged in, you know. And I think the Cure has good albums, like from start to finish, just listening experiences, kind of like Pink Floyd. Yeah, but they never really had. I guess I never really completely warmed up to them. So I would have to pick the Cure over. No. Mudman, stop. No Whitesnake. Whitesnake was one of those bands like, oh, here you go. Go back to the first couple Whitesnake albums when they were like a rhythm and blues band. That Whitesnake is cool. I forgot all about early Whitesnake, not the stuff, the MTV Whitesnake, the rhythm and blues Whitesnake. Whitesnake was originally, that band was Deep Purple. It was Deep Purple. It was those same guys. I think it was the drummer, bass player, and of course David Coverdale was in that band, was in Deep Purple. That song Burn is freaking a rocker, man. Not Pink Floyd, but Deep Purple. All those hippie names, Deep Purple, Rainbow. But yeah, that stuff was cool. That stuff was because I think what happened with Coverdale's a really soulful singer. Uh, he has substance, but I think like the later Whitesnake stuff became a little bit flashier. It was a little bit more hair metal, for the lack of a better term. So I didn't really care for the later stuff that much. They had great musicians in that band, but it was just kind of standard hair metal. It was good hair metal, but it was just kind of standard. But yeah, I forgot about like I think it was like the first two or whatever Whitesnake albums were pretty good. Yeah, Joe Bernard says Black Sabbath, Ozzy, or Dio. That's easy for me. It's Dio, hands down. Dio is a major weakness. You listen to that stuff, and he transcends kind of some of the kind of corny lyrics and stuff like that. But man, that dude's got a voice, man. He had that voice all the way up to almost the end. You know, that guy went out with his boots on too. He was still touring and still putting out albums. Uh, I like Dio on his own. I like Dio when he played with Rainbow. I liked Dio with Black Sabbath. Like some of the, like what was it, Heaven and Hell and the Mob Rules. Those are two of my favorite Sabbath albums. You know, also that Greg Hildebrandt did the cover for Mob Rules. That still to me is freaking awesome artwork, and that song is great. You talk about a song that actually uh, still has some impact, like lyrically. I think it was one of Ronnie James Dio's better songs lyrically. Tony Martin, Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy. I don't know who Tony Martin is. Who's Tony Martin? Stuart Copeland's a badass. Yeah, the Police, the early Police albums, I love that stuff. Yeah, I think all the way up, like Synchronicity has moments too. I think that was that their last studio album. That's a pretty good album too. I'm gonna have to start wrapping this up, man. I'm having too much fun. Yeah, AC/DC. Tommy Aldridge, yes. Handy Caper is coming through. Yeah, Black Oak, Arkansas. That's the band. Yeah, you talk about a deep dive, man. You get the No Prize award. Yeah. What was that singer's name? He had a weird name, but that's there was some raw stuff there. Some great double bass work. Tommy Aldridge is badass. I don't think he gets his due. Um, I'm a drummer too. I was a big fan of Phil Collins, Neil Peart, or Carl Palmer, uh, Neil Peart, Phil Collins, especially Phil Collins, was hugely underrated drummer. I like him with Genesis as a drummer. I think the later stuff, not so much. Even though one of the most iconic drum intros, the bum 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 boom bum 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 in the air tonight. I think that's one of Phil Collins' best songs ever, and it does have that iconic drum intro, which I do like. But I was never really influenced by Phil. He's left-handed, right? So he leads with his left. Carl Palmer, I think Carl Palmer was just he was kind of caveman-esque, but the music kind of fooled you because a lot of those drum rolls and stuff were pretty straightforward. He kind of reminded me of maybe a more articulated version or articulate drummer. Um, I think Keith Moon, because Carl Palmer was just kind of always doing fills and stuff like that. He was kind of a busy drummer, but he definitely fit that band for sure. But I was never too influenced by him. No, no. Actually, one of the band members bought me a pair of bright red spandex pants. I never even put them on. Chester Thompson's freaking great. Duo they use to do live. Oh, I think I remember that. I'll check it out. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. Yeah, here we are, the defenders of the universe. Yeah, that whole soundtrack's killer. Oh, you know what? I did like the early Cars stuff. You know what? And also, I used to say it, but I don't know if it's true. I think the Cars created new wave. I think they were way ahead of the curve. So I personally give the Cars as creating the new wave. That first Knack album's pretty good. Like that song, like they give them like one hit wonder, but that song "Good Girls Don't," like she said, "Good girls don't, but I do." I thought that was a great song. Yeah, that drummer is powerful, and that what is the song? Is it what do My Sharona? My Sharona's got some powerful drums in there. Yeah. Oh, give me the no prize. Who wants to live forever? Well, you guys can all have a no prize, and you can expect it in the mail. Never. All right. Muttman says, Art, were you a Thin Lizzy fan? Was I? I still am. That's one of those behind the scenes. I saw a documentary on Phil Lynott. Holy shit. You talk about a guy, like he's one of those guys, like it does get a little Oprah-esque, like his backstory, but it's really, really interesting. And I think the reason it's interesting is because that Phil Lynott never let it get him down, because he's a half and half. And so growing up in England, he got a lot of flack for being a half and half. But I'll tell you, I love those type stories where, one, he never let it get him down. He never let it get to him at all. And then he just proved them all wrong. And I think in his hometown in Ireland or wherever it is, he has a statue erected in front of a pub or something with him. And you talk about just a cool rock and roll dude on stage. That dude looks like a fucking badass, man. That Alive and Dangerous album, I think, that Upshot up, because he's tall. He's really tall and skinny. And he had the cool fro and the one earring. I think he had a big hoop earring. He looked like a pirate or something. That dude had great presence, man. He had great presence. He had a great voice. And I think he understood, man, the power of the guitar, because he was also very generous. Like, because the double guitar that would double up on lead solos and stuff like that. I think like Thin Lizzy was one of the early bands to do that. So was it Gary Moore? Like, I forget who was in, but he had some great guitar players too. Yeah, so that's a great band. Cheap Indonesian junk that's going around. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. There's Jeff's got. I was just going to post that the Knack was good. Their third album was awesome. I think the first album burned hot for me, but I think I lost interest. Yeah, Maiden with Paul Di'Anno. I couldn't remember that guy's name, but Rothschild is. You guys are. God, you talk. I'm sharpening up, man. I'm remembering all this stuff now. Bad Apples. Dale A. Bad Apples was one of my favorite late 70s LA rock band. I don't remember those guys. I remember a band called Russia. They were kind of like new wave. I'm going to look this up and see if I can find some Bad Apples. I like doing these because you guys always throw out new music for me to listen to, even though this is older music. Maiden with Di'Anno was straightforward metal. I think his limited vocal abilities helped curb some of Harris's phrasiness. Yeah, maybe. I like that first drummer too. I think Maiden with both, they were different, but I do think with God, I can't remember the Maiden. I just patted myself on the back for remembering stuff, and now I forget the singer for Maiden. But that dude catapulted Maiden into a new stratosphere. And also, I think like the reason I like Paul Di'Anno is just the opposite of the reason I like the guy that replaced him. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I can't remember his name. Um, but for different reasons, because I like Di'Anno's low register, and now that I'm older, I kind of like that more. But in the 70s, late 80s, I think I blame Led Zeppelin. Every lead like front guy had to hit like a high register, vocally, and so I think that Di'Anno was always going to be limited, just because I don't think people like that. I think that high voice, was definitely what people were looking for at the time. So, oh my gosh, I'm way behind. Bruce Dickinson, thank you. Thank you. Tank Ferret, welcome, Tank Ferret. So, check out Steve Vai video where he plays without strumming. Was that Knapsack? I don't know what that is. Well, I'm going to do a bunch of this after lunch. Let's see what Henry says. Thin Lizzy was hugely influential. A lot of the early English punk bands were influenced by Thin Lizzy. The band's flawless. As far as just a hard rock band, those guys are flawless. And just a story, in the day, I had tickets for Kansas, and the opening act was Thin Lizzy. And you talk about a mixed match freaking lineup, but I don't think people judged in the day. I think they loved it. So I forget what happened, but I never got to the show. So I just sat on the tickets. I think it had something to do with a girlfriend at the time, but I never got to the show. Yeah, I always regret that, man, because it was Kansas. I think they were touring the Point of No Return album, and so Lizzy already had Jailbreak, and they had like all of their cool albums out by then. So it would have been a great show. Doot. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I like prog rock. Like on Kansas level, I like prog rock. I liked Kansas because the singer Steve, I don't remember the guy's name, but he could sing high, but he kind of had a real mellow tone to his voice. That guy is one of the most underrated lead singers I've ever seen. Just so good. Just so freaking good. There's a great documentary too, Kansas behind the scenes documentary. My daughter bought it for me for Father's Day or my birthday or something like that. I watch it every once in a while. It's a great behind the scenes, and I like that the band didn't even know how good of a singer he was until they went into the studio and they got to hear it back, the recordings and stuff. Steve Walsh, yes, just phenomenal singer. He could go like his register, like they say, like Freddie Mercury had perfect pitch in all ranges, but that Steve Walsh, I don't know that much about like singers and ranges and perfect pitch and all that, but I'd say that guy was right up there. Definitely right up there. Yeah, Jeff's a huge Kansas fan. Let's see, Richard said, I saw Kansas open for, oh my gosh, that'd be like a progressive, like a prog rock's wet dream right there, man. Yes, good. I'll tell you, but like even prog rock has that like high voice thing. Like they just like that high range. And I think that's what like, it also is, I think, a handicap, because like I think Yes had the high range, the singer with the high range. They had like, do you remember a band called Zebra? You Tell Me What You Want. Like they were kind of considered a prog rock like trio, but that guy's voice was you didn't even want to listen to it. You know, they had some good songs, but you really had to get past that guy, the singer. Um, yeah, John Anderson. It's John has a charm and it fits that band, but like even like the reason why it's later prog rock, but Dream Theater, as good as Dream Theater is, I think that singer, in my opinion, lets that band down because it's not even lyrically. It's just that guy. His voice one is too pretty. I think it's. I'm not saying he's not. He's a great singer, but I think his voice is a little too pretty. There's not enough character to it, and the range is a bit too high. I think if like sometimes he sings in a lower range, and I think it sounds great. But for me, for my taste now, I like singers that they're not that screechy high stuff. You know, like even Rush, you know, like all those type prog bands or prog metal bands, they all had that high register. Yeah, Motley Crue or Molly Hatchet didn't have that problem. They had a really good singer. It was a very mellow singer, like mid range, I guess. Wow, Jeff really knows some of these bands. Yeah, it is kind of like an acquired taste though. That band Zebra. Joe says best singer Freddie Mercury or guy from that. Oh shit, that guy from Boston. Oh my gosh, when he does that and she slipped away. Like they didn't have auto tune and shit like that in the day. That dude was hitting that note, man. That's freaking phenomenal. Yeah, Boston was kind of a good, I think, a good hybrid of like pop, had a pop sensibility, but with like some, like just big ass guitar. Like I'd never heard guitar that big before. And then that singer was amazing. I think personally, if that band would have had a better drummer, I think Boston could have, for me personally, I think they could have been one of those bands that I could listen to all the time. Okay. Okay. This is I. If you think James, whatever that guy's name is, sounds bad with Dream Theater, go listen to their first record with Charles. Oh, they had a different. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's a shame. Like that James, whatever LeBray or whatever. That he's really good. I'm not saying he's not good, but man, just for my taste, that it's too high. The vocal range is too high. Boston, how could anyone forget Boston Brad Delp? Brad Delp, was that the the rhythm guitar player? I don't know who Brad Delp is. Uh, Yeah, Molly Hatchet had they had Frazetta covers, didn't they? They had some cool Frazetta covers and stuff. Yeah, they had a great art direction too. Was it? I'm trying to think of the Molly Hatchet. They kind of like blend with Leonard Skinner, and then what was the band that came out after Skinner with some of the members? Was that Molly Hatchet? Did they have like Flirting with Disaster? Oh, Brad Delp was the singer. Okay, thanks guys. Yeah, Frazetta. All right, you guys. I think I'm losing my focus. Yeah, Boston. The band is kind of a studio band, to be honest. But I think he took those guys. He took those guys out on tour. I think it was the same band, but I think originally it was just a studio band. It was like I don't know if those guys were true session players, the bass player, drummer, and rhythm guitar player. Because I think Boston pretty much is just that Brad Delp and the guitar player. 38 Special is the band. But who had that song "Flirting with Disaster"? Like all those southern rock bands, they had great drummers. Like even like Ted Nugent. I think he played with this band called the Andy Duke Boys or something like that. Those guys always have good drummers, for sure. Yeah, so Molly Hatchet did have that Flirting with Disaster because it has that great drum piece in it. Yeah, is it Amboy Dukes? Yeah, yeah. Actually, before like Ted Nugent went the way of like David Lee Roth, I think. He just became like a parody of himself. Like in the day, Ted Nugent had like he had an edge to him, man. He was kind of an edgy dude. Always had good drummers. I do think that even who's the guy? Oh my gosh, the guy that was the Bat Out of Hell guy. I think that dude sung with was like a front guy for Ted Nugent early on. That is horrible. I forget that guy's name. Yeah, the Bat Out of Hell, the Meatloaf. As soon as I thought like, oh, the big guy, I was like, oh, Meatloaf. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that was later. Yeah, that's where he started becoming like a kind of a kind of a parody of himself. Like it was a little too over the top, I think. Yeah, so Molly Hatchet was Flirting with Disaster. That's a great song. It's got a great just like the drummer finds that pocket, and then the whole band is just in that pocket through the whole song. It's a really good song. Meatloaf, yeah, like a Bat Out of Hell. I didn't appreciate Meatloaf until the later years because I didn't know. Like I thought Bat Out of Hell we were supposed to take it seriously because it was kind of like an important album in the day, and it really is kind of a tongue-in-cheek album. I don't think it's meant to be serious. I think it's kind of humorous, and so it wasn't until years later that I realized, yeah, it's funny. And then I thought it was the first album is great. What instrument did I play? I played the drums. Yeah, I started off as a bass player, but it seemed too much like homework, and I just like to hit things. And so I admit I have like some inherent dexterity, and so I was able to kind of adapt to the drums really quick. So like I could kind of move my limbs. I could do one thing with this hand, do something different with this hand, and I could do the same thing with my feet. So I kind of fell into drums, and it felt really natural. It still does. Like I still play from time to time. I haven't played because I hurt my hands, so my drum set isn't even set up yet. But the room over here is just going to be my music room completely. Once my thumbs come back and I can start playing again, I'll set everything up. I'll show you guys pictures. I have a killer drum kit. It's a little old school, but I think some of the more hard rock metal guys started using double bass with rack mount cymbals and stuff later. Derek St. Holmes. Nugent's singer during the classic period was Derek. That sounds like a Spinal Tap, the Spinal Tap guy. Pert, yeah, no, Pert doesn't have a third. Sounds like it sometimes. There are drummers that are like I watch them on YouTube, just phenomenal. Like just drummers that I think if I saw stuff like that as a kid, I would never have played. I would have been way too intimidated. Like there's a lot of great musicians out there. Not a lot of great bands anymore. Not a lot of that. So it's weird. Like I think like right now there's better musicianship than ever before, but there's just no bands. There's no place to plug them into. There's no. There's they're just drummers. Like most of them are just making a living doing instruction videos and just like touring and doing instructional like stuff and seminars and things like that. It's really sad. Like if you were a band, like putting a band together now, you would have like the choice of so many great players. It's pretty weird. Oh yeah. That guy lost his arm. I was never a big Def Leppard fan. I thought their first album was pretty good. Let It Rock, Let It Roll, and then they became a little too studio. I think it started sounding a little too phony for me, so I stopped. I stopped kind of listening to them. They were very commercial. They were very popular. I think the girls liked them, so they were kind of a safe hard rock band. And I think the only reason they get the status is because their first album, and when they started, they were kind of just a ground level, just raunchy rock band. Some of those drummers with really over the top technique sound terrible when they play with the band. Yeah, I agree. So they probably don't fit, the music, or yeah, because there is something about like creating a band sound organically. That's why I really like the whole garage band kind of idea. These are guys that in the neighborhood they got together and they just kind of played together and created a sound. But they did it all as a group. It wasn't like a bunch of contract players that they just bought in and did it that way, which I do think more bands are done that way. I think Avenged Sevenfold was one of the last like really garage type bands that there was a core group of 5 guys, I think, that just were all friends in the neighborhood and just kind of came up the ranks together and developed a sound together. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for the super chats. It was great. Thanks just for the hang, you guys. This is always something I look forward to. Just hanging out with you guys. And we always find something to talk about. It's always my favorite because sometimes I panic before I hit that start button. And I think like, what are we going to talk about? And we always end up finding something to talk about. So you guys are fun to hang out with. I really do appreciate that. And I have what is it? Airborne, and I have Bad Apples to look up. So I'm going to look up those guys while I'm working later. So once again, you guys, go check out my Black and White pre-launch page. So this is it here. If you come and you sign up now, you can get a free trading card with the backing and early bird specials and access to exclusives. So this is what the trading card artwork's going to be. It's just kind of, they wouldn't let me put the whole thing in, so that's a portion of it. And I got this great video that I want to share with you guys. In a world where law and order, I know you guys don't need me to read this, but I'm going to do it anyways. Are often blurred to gray. I like how the music picks up here. Justice can only be Black and White, man versus machine. Wait a minute. Here we go. All right, we're back. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Red Gaze did a fantastic job with the video. So if you guys were on the fence, that video had to have put you completely over the fence, Humpty Dumpty'd you into the other side for you guys to come sign up for the Black and White Volume 2, Man versus Machine. Today I have 52, 53, 54 maybe I'll be able to get down. So I'm doing layouts right now. I have the book is written. The book is not the dialogue, but the plot is written. I am going to do, if he lets me, I'm going to do a big reveal this coming week on Black and White. So we're going to get into more of the details of the book, the story, the creative teams behind it, things like that. So, like I said, if you guys are on the fence, don't sign up for that pre-launch page, and you'll have that free trading card that'll be yours, and early bird specials, and just support. Like, getting people in early is so important for these Indiegogo campaigns, because the algorithms on the Indiegogo page change, and the more backings you get, the higher you get up on their page, and the more support you get all the way across the board, like not just Indiegogo, but success breeds success. So if you can put up some good numbers early on, then it attracts other people to your campaign. And this is all grassroots, you guys. I'm relying 100% on you guys to get the word out, to help and to support these books. So if you've already signed up, if you could tweet it out, just click the link. There's a Twitter button. Just hit that Twitter button, and the link for the Indiegogo pre-launch page will automatically appear like magic. And so I do appreciate that in advance. Thanks you guys for doing that. And if you haven't signed up, the link is in the description. So just click that link, go right there, sign up. It'll only take a minute or two. And yeah, the book, the Black and White book, my gosh, man, when I start telling you who I'm working with and a little bit of snippets of the story, you guys are good. This book, like whatever volume 1 was, this is going to be that, by 100. It's just going to knock your socks off. I think I've grown as a writer and as an artist, so it's going to be better all the way around. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be launching the live campaign soon, but I want to make sure I get X amount of signatures before. So yeah, help get the word out, you guys. Tweet it out. If you haven't signed up, please do so. And have a wonderful lunch. I know I am. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.